What's happening, everybody? It's Tone Space, and as you're probably well aware of now, of the alleged suicide that occurred by a one Jeffrey Epstein, or is it Epstein? Epstein, I believe, on August 10th, a couple days ago, of the making of this video, in a jail cell in I believe, the downtown Manhattan, New York area. Now, I was just chopping it up, talking about this situation. I've not been abreast of this whole situation. I heard the name sometime before, heard of the suicide, but wasn't really, doing the due diligence and in tune with all the players in the game. Then a little bit of research, and it connected to things that I have looked into a little bit, such as the Pizzagate scandal, the atrocious child sex trafficking rings that go about around the world and stuff like that, and high profile political figures, right? Now, I said I'm gonna do a video because I just thought of a potential twist in regard to his alleged suicide, and what may be a clue or a cue to it not being a suicide, right? Well, I'll go real quick just for preface. I'm on Wikipedia. So it's Jeffrey Edward Epstein, born January 20th, 53, died August 10th, 2019. He was an American financier and convicted sex offender. Epstein began his career in finance in the investment bank Bear Stearns before forming his own firm, J. Epstein & Co., until his conviction for sex crimes in 2008. Epstein was a multimillionaire who was connected with the financial, political, and cultural elite of society. April 2005, police of Palm Beach, Florida began investigating Epstein after a parent complained that he molested her 14-year-old daughter. After an investigation, prosecution, and plea negotiations, Epstein pleaded guilty and was convicted by a Florida state court of soliciting a prostitute and of procuring an underage girl for prostitution. On June 30, 2008, he served 13 months in custody with work release as part of a plea deal, while federal officials identified 36 girls as young as 14 years old whom had been molested. Epstein was arrested again July 6, 2019 on federal charges for sex trafficking of minors in Florida and in New York. He died on August 10, 2019, reportedly after hanging himself in his Manhattan prison cell. 3 weeks earlier, Epstein had been found unconscious in his jail cell with injuries to his neck and placed on suicide watch, which lasted 6 days and ended 12 days before he died. An autopsy performed on August 11th. The New York City Medical Examiner's Office announced that it needed more information before the cause of death could be determined, though it is presumed to be suicide. Now, you may kind of peep my little somber tone to this. Please do not get it confused. It has nothing to do with the death or alleged death of this person right here, who personally I believe is a straight up scumbag. Him being out of here, whatever. It's just him being connected to this whole sex trafficking thing and stuff like that. And there's a lot of y'all may be aware he was connected to high profile political figures, former presidents, current president, and Donald Trump. And as I'm making this video, Donald Trump recently retweeted a tweet that someone else posted, basically alleging that it was a Clinton kill. Either Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, or them both had Epstein killed. And that kind of what brings me to this video, because I was watching another YouTuber that threw on a documentary of basically the body count of the Clintons. And I mean, it was crazy. They went through, like, that documentary went through over 100 people, where there was, I'd say, in my opinion, from what I saw, a probable reason to implicate the Clintons, both Bill and Hillary, or sometimes just Bill, but for the most part, the murdering team. It was a lot of stuff that was very suspicious, with over 100-something deaths. Some of them claimed to be suicides. I mean, you had some deaths like someone killed himself, was able to zip himself in a bag, and some weird stuff. Another one was able to kill himself by shooting himself in the head, and after shooting himself in the head, he was able to hide the gun so the police couldn't find it. Whole bunch of suspicious stuff. And these are people that have been very close around the Clintons for a while. And as you probably know by now, I think I did a video of this sometime before, when Bill Cosby was being, ran through the mud for his alleged sexual abuse. I think I did a video, or at least I intended to. Forget if I did it or not. But it was about, I was going to, or did title it something like Bill C. and his list of people he sexually abused, or something like that. The plot twist when you open the video was going to be that I'm talking about Bill Clinton. For a long time, I've read of many women that have had physical abuse, sexual abuse, and they try to like jam him up or make him pay for it, and he'd be protected from this, that, or the third. Uh, I don't know the name of the documentary. I was watching someone else's video, but just type in Bill Clinton body count or Bill Clinton or the Clinton murders, and I'm sure you'll probably find a documentary that pops up, right? So this one documentary had the body count upwards to I think 115 people, and I think it was before this gentleman died. I won't call him a gentleman. Before this scumbag Jeffrey Epstein died, right? And so the going narrative in among conspiracy collectives and leagues, so to speak, is that he's another body count. He's number 116 of the known people associated to the Clintons that died mysteriously. And I gotta tell you, after watching that documentary and seeing the circumstances in which this man died, it just fits right in. And I mean, I'm the type of person that looks into like probability and the chance of things. Now, to have 115 or 116, including this man, deaths of people that have surrounded the Clintons, that have had associations with the Clintons, many of them where somebody was about to bring proof from point A to point B, and en route from point A to point B, they mysteriously died. Several of those occasions in that 116 body count had stuff like that. So I look at this, it's right up that alley. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we don't just want to just buy a conspiracy. I mean, if you look on Snopes, they write it off as bogus. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, come on now. Coincidence is way in the favor of these people being murderers, that I'm talking about here. All right, let's say not all 116 of them were people that they killed. Let's say it was just 1/10 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like the probability says that's too large a volume of number for it to all completely be bogus. I mean, let's face it, if they killed one person, that's deplorable. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about probability tells me at least 16 of them people were, people that they bodied. But as a disclaimer, I'm not accusing anyone, Clintons or whomever, of killing anyone. I'm just basically speaking from plausibility and what I think from looking at evidence and things that other people have already put out. I cannot concrete, I'm not a judge. I can't say for sure anyone did anything. So let me just put that out there. But this Epstein guy seems to follow that same trail. You know what I'm saying? Like after watching that documentary and looking up this Epstein, it kind of looks like it's an epilogue to the documentary, like the circumstances in which he died, the people he was connected with. You know what I'm saying? You're probably familiar with the Pizzagate and the child sex trafficking stuff with the Clintons heavily connected to that. They say this Epstein guy and Bill Clinton, they traveled together to this guy's private island, Epstein, as he was a billionaire, as I understand. Interestingly enough, I saw something where they said both Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Clinton, and of all people, Chris Tucker, one time went to Africa, I guess, to do some charity work for children or something like that, allegedly. But I just found it interesting that Chris Tucker joined the crew for whatever they were doing. Shout out to Chris Tucker. I'm not trying to say he did anything crazy, but yeah, but this is what I was thinking, just to get down to the meat and potatoes of it, right? They say that this man was on suicide watch, this Jeffrey Epstein. They say days prior to him being found actually dead, they found a bruised neck from him attempting to kill himself, right? Now, let's just assume, let's say that the Clintons are murderers and they do have that voluminous body count, right? So as soon as Epstein got caught and knew that he would have to go to trial and potentially put out information for his own freedom or whatever the heck it is, he probably knew at that time. If he's close to them like that, then he knows how they get down. So at that time, he probably knew his days would potentially be numbered, that they try to kill him. So what if he was never really suicidal in the first place, and let's say he kind of bruised his own neck and kind of faked trying to kill himself that first time, just so that he could get that suicide watch, knowing that he's going to need that kind of watch, you know what I'm saying? For someone else that may get him. But I mean, at the same time, we're talking about New York jails. Anybody could be paid off, mafia, this, tie, that. I don't think it would be hard for anyone very powerful to find someone, to get to someone if they want to get to them, especially in a vulnerable place like a jail. He's not at his compound with armed security and cameras everywhere. He was in a vulnerable position in that situation. You know what I'm saying? But it did make me think. I was like, yeah, what? I mean, I'm not buying that he committed suicide. It is possible. I do not know for a fact that he did not commit suicide, right? But if he did not commit suicide, then I suspect from jump, he never really was of, a suicidal mood or anything. He probably faked the little injury in his neck just so he could get that suicide watch because he knew they were trying to get him. You know what I'm saying? And then unfortunately, he got. Now you may ask, well, if he had people watching him, why would he get the suicide watch? Why not just tell them, look, the Clintons, they're murderers or whatever, they're gonna come get me. Give me all the protection in the world. I will pay college for your great-great-grandchildren, for everyone in this building or something like that. You know what I mean? That could just be for the reason of not trying to really raise the waves, if you know what I mean. Because let's say he says, look, the Clintons are murderers, then that kind of gives the Clintons a prelude of what he's going to do when he testifies in court. And then if they weren't trying to get him then, they'd really be trying to get him now. So it's like I kind of see faking being on suicide watch while not inherently being suicidal, kind of like a subtle under the radar way to try to get some eyes and ears and cameras and everything on you to help protect you from being murdered or suicided, as it's called. You know what I'm saying? So as I said from the beginning, I'm very new to this story, so I'm not trying to come in this thing like I'm the sergeant of information with this whole thing. I've looked into this stuff lightly. As far as I'm concerned, I look at political figures. I kind of write them all off as scumbags. That may not be the best thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I probably should look at, certain details and everything. But when I see stuff like this, like child sex trafficking and stuff like that, it disgusts me or whatever. So, yeah, do check out some documentaries on the Clintons. I believe the keyword, I think the name of the documentary did have the word body count in there. So I would put Clinton's body count. Those are probably some keywords that could pull something interesting up for you. And, you watch it for yourself and see what you think. And then you look at Jeffrey Epstein's alleged suicide and see if it fits a pattern that you may have seen in that documentary. And right before I get off this thing, another theory is that he was not killed at all. And, he's a rich billionaire. The other theory is that he faked his suicide, pulled a Machiavelli, and he's back on an island or he's somewhere safe at a compound somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole suicide was a hoax just so he could get away. I think that's possible, but quite honestly, if there is a conspiracy, if something nefarious happened aside from him actually killing himself, if I had to pick between they got him killed or he pulled a Machiavelli, he's really alive and he faked his suicide, I'm weighing higher in the notion that he was actually killed. And that's just because it just seems like, for a heartless person that don't care about your life, it seems like the easiest, simplest solution. You know what I'm saying? You fake someone's death and you put them somewhere. It's still a high profile person. There's a chance that they can still be found and everything. Boom. The dead men tell no tales, as they say. Leaving them alive and faking it and everything, that leaves too many doors and room open for people to still get in trouble. And so, yeah. In the order of what happened, my personal beliefs, as I said, I do not know. I think he was killed as the top potential thing that happened. Second to that, he actually did kill himself. And third to be that was, he faked his own death and he's really alive. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to rap about that real quick. Check out them videos, see what you think. I'm gonna, do my little due diligence on this a lot more. And actually, it pains me to do it, but I'm going to look a lot more into the whole child sex trafficking conspiracy. You know, I've looked into it lightly, but it disgusted me so much I couldn't tolerate it. But you know, for the sake of I guess commentary and everything, I think I'm going to try as best as I can to digest that. You know what I mean? And be as fair and open and not just be all wide eyed and believe everything I hear, yet at the same time be open minded, you know, for the plausibility that, you know, there is something going on with these high political figures, you know, the so called elite class. So with that said, I will catch y'all on that next one real soon.